Hey, what's up, Toby? We made it another week.
Woohoo!
It
Good to
is
see you, buddy.
We are, you got today's topic as well, which I'm excited
We're in
about.
the Process Step podcast.
That's right.
Amen.
So today's
There's,
topic
yeah,
is the World Cup.
there's this little phenomena going on right
There is
now
this little phenomenon.
as we sit here in early July called the World Cup.
Yeah.
And just before the call, we were kind of talking about the U.S.-Belgium game on Monday.
Yep.
And as you rightly noted, Belgium is a top 10 team.
Yep.
And when they took the field, one of these teams looked ready to play and the other did not. And unfortunately, it was not our U.S. team.
No.
Right.
And also, this might be the only podcast that talks about soccer and the process that's tied to soccer, because I do think this is a very interesting topic when it comes to the process that leads to great talent in the World Cup, and then also the peoples and the players. It's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, it's fascinating because you see these guys playing for their national teams, and then you look up where they actually are playing for a living.
Oh yeah,
and time and again, the most elite players are all playing in the European League.
Oh yeah,
with maybe the exception of Messi, who has a tremendous deal when he came over to play in Florida.
Yep.
So good for him. I guess that's how you become a billionaire, right?
That's right.
And so, but what's so fascinating to me is it's not a question of whether these guys are putting in enormous training hours.
Yeah.
And using the most statistically effective methods.
Yep.
To enhance their performance.
Yep.
Or that they're reviewing all the game tape, or that the coaches aren't masters of the game. All of that, I think, is generally true.
Yep.
And yet I still show up and I root for the U.S. to play, despite our track record of.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah. So, and it's a nationalist bias, right? Of course, we go to the Olympics and I want U.S. to do well.
Yep.
And in the World Cup, I want U.S. to do well. And I'm still rooting for them regardless of who they play.
Yep.
Even though factually I know the probability is much higher that Argentina and France are going to go on to the finals.
Yep.
Right? Why is that? I feel like we do the same thing in the world of process improvement, right? That we ignore the factual data and we go with our emotional allegiance.
That's so funny. It's such a good tie-in, because it's like, I want something that's not true to be true.
Yeah. Yeah. I want my master data to be clean. I want my month-end close to go smoothly. I want my sales guys to hit their numbers. And again, it's still, we hire talented people in general to fulfill the roles that they're capable of filling. So much of good process is publicly available, and so we have access to what qualifies as good process.
Yeah.
And yet sometimes process doesn't work the way we wish it did, even though we love it.
Yeah. We've talked about this a lot. I want my timeline to be hit with all of my perfect scope. I want all my requirements to be defined.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it just doesn't pan out that way.
No. And it feels like I had it described to me as the expectation gap. My brother, your college roommate, was sharing with me from a parenting class that he did. His kids are now teens, but he said, you have expectations, which are way up here. And I'm holding my hand above my head for radio listeners.
Yep.
And then you have reality, which is down here, which is below my chin.
Yep.
And he said, the delta between expectations and reality is called disappointment. And I just started laughing. Isn't that great?
So good.
The delta between expectations and reality is disappointment.
Yeah.
And so whatever we can do to close that gap, following that logic, reduces our disappointment.
Yeah.
And so if reality exceeds our expectations, then that's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah.
And says we're watching World Cup. I'm like, go US, beat Belgium up, here we go. And they have looked really good.
They have looked really good.
Right? In the early group rounds. And so, but I should have known that, and the bookmakers were calling it, about 55-45 in favor of the US. So even the expert odds makers had the tables tipped the wrong way.
Yeah.
So what happened in that? What did we not understand? Is it the complexity of the system or the processes that put people on the field and execute goals?
I think there's something to having a culture of winning.
Okay.
Right. And these, a lot of the top players come out of the Premier League or La Liga or the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have been there, done that. Right. And been there, not done that, which I think is also important. I think if you can been there, not done that, and then been there, done that, I think you just come out with just a different resolve.
Yeah.
And resolve is in like a corporate resolve, right? Like, there was, cause I watched the game and there was the defense on the US was playing really timid. And there was one where the ball went way up in the air and everybody's like, nobody has it. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like just
3 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, if you think about that, like that's either 3 guys not being on the same page.
Right.
It's playing to not lose, which generally doesn't play out really well.
Agreed.
Or any number of things. But I do think that there is something to be said for people that have been in the fire and have either been burnt or come out of it.
Yeah.
Like it's the same reason why, you kind of can pick these, what people in their professional career kind of get the people that go into a fire and then come out of that fire generally have that job is aligned with whatever they did because they've proven that they can pull a company out of a tailspin, or they can, whatever. And so I think that's interesting. I do think the one of the things that I find fascinating is how do you get good at soccer is you play a lot of soccer. And if you want to play really good soccer, that's in Europe. And if you want to play really good soccer, that means that they've bought a contract on you. And you, like Messi, went over when you were really young and played in these feeder leagues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw 17-year-olds taking the pitch, in this for the first time since Pele, one of the youngest players. And to your point, I just thought, my gosh, what has been his path to put him in the World Cup stage at 17?
Well, at the top, and we talk about like our little PUMP acronym, power, unintended consequences, money, and process, right? And if you look at the World Cup, you've got money, which is your top leagues in Europe.
Right.
Go and find the best talent in the world, right? Yeah. They put them through school, which is process, right? The unintended consequences, whether they want it or not, is they create world-class soccer teams. And, the power is really with these European leagues, right? It's interesting, right? So like the US failed, right? But Germany got booted, and Germany should never be booted in the round of 32.
Right.
Like they should always
make good cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
The other part of the process part here is that you have to have a team.
Yeah.
Right. You need a striker for sure. You need someone who can put, balls in the
points
net.
on the board. Yeah.
And you need a team.
Yeah.
And so you look at these, the German team or whatever, like the Italy team probably didn't mesh. Right.
Yeah.
Just didn't sync, didn't cohese for some reason, and then they're out. And so then what happens is then their coach is fired. That's generally how this.
It's 100% true, isn't it?
Although that didn't like one of the South American teams, like didn't back in the day their coach get like gunned down because he lost the World Cup?
Oh my God. That sounds like a very
It sounds so true. But like,
story.
Could also be completely false. I don't know. Well, you'd have to fact check us on that. because that I'm not putting any. I don't know if that's true or not, but I believe that it's something like that. But probably let's blame Colombia because they'd be fun to pick on.
I think that's probably a fair one to put on Colombia. That sounds like a very cartel kind of way to play.
Yes.
It is interesting that you talk about the manager because, in organizations, our strikers that are putting numbers on the board are deal makers generally.
Yep.
Right. And then equally important are the guys playing really excellent defense. But the buck stops with the goalie, which is ultimately the CFO. Right. So it doesn't matter how much we bring in. It's a matter of how much we keep.
Yep.
And if the person with those CFO responsibilities is letting too much through, there's no world in which strikers can out-earn a goalie that's deficient.
Yeah.
Or a goal that's unprotected.
Yep.
Is the other equivalency.
Yeah.
Or a goalie that doesn't clear the ball properly and instead thinks that they too are a wizard of footwork. And so, but inside of all the machinery of a soccer team, the other group of players in the midfield and then in defense, boy, it feels so similar to an organization. And ultimately that manager is the guy that's putting people in the places.
Yep.
And telling them the plays that they want run.
Yep.
The team on the field has to execute. But, if we're assigning roles, it's that CEO that's supposed to be sitting in that manager role. So it does make sense that a team could be effective, but given a bad playbook.
Yep.
Or that they've been put in the wrong seats. And that's something that I've heard a lot, not necessarily in the wrong seats, but it's that to capture some of the more high quality talent, they have people playing atypical positions.
Oh yeah.
And I hadn't really given that a lot of thought until we tried to connect it to process dead. And then I go, oh, what does that mean to have, a really exceptional delivery person being tasked with sales, or a salesperson being tasked with delivery.
Yeah.
Or an accountant being tasked with marketing.
Yeah.
That level of influence isn't always transferable.
Yeah, the thing I love about soccer, and you're a bigger soccer fan than I am, but the thing that I love is it's just real-time strategy.
It is.
Where
it's super organic.
Everybody's involved at some point, right? So like you've got, again, you've got your striker. So again, that kind of does act like sales, and then it goes down into your middle field, which is kind of like your operational, like workhorse. It gets back to the defense, which is more of like your accounting, HR, like standard business functions.
Right.
Like it's just really interesting as you think about those roles. And what's cool is like specifically in soccer is if you're a striker, it's the end of the game and you're up by 1, you're probably playing defense.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Like you're probably
where you needed most.
Yeah, because you don't want them to score. And so the organic nature. The other thing that we should talk about, which I've called and my friends have not necessarily appreciated, which is the American commercial break that we've added into the World Cup.
Oh my God.
It's so American and so like, I think I'm against it, but
I'm 100% against it, in part because I've seen the same Timothy Chalamet advertisement
commercial every time.
And 734 times.
And for those that don't know what the commercial break is, it's not called a commercial break. It's called a hydration break. And it's basically each half. So soccer's a half, 245 minutes with some extra time. But in the middle, they've done a 3-minute hydration break, which for most soccer purists, they are not big fans.
No, because it's bullshit.
Did I say that out loud?
No.
Yes.
What's crazy about it? It just completely throws off the rhythm.
It does.
It
really does.
Of just the flow of the game, because historically you've not been able to do major strategic shifts during a game because the game is just moving too fast, and so it throws off the flow. And most people don't like it, but someone's got to pay Timothy Chalamet apparently.
That's right. Yeah, that poor kid. He's barely making ends meet.
Just barely making it.
It is interesting. Something you touched on a minute ago is that when the chips are down, the whole team can swing forward or they can swing back.
Yep.
So if you're trailing by 1, your goalie is coming up on goal kicks to try to help score.
Yep.
And when you're up by one and you're down to the last minutes, everybody's on defense.
Yep.
And that requires a lot of shared commitment to a singular outcome.
Yep.
Right. But it also requires an enormous amount of role clarity.
Yep.
You can't have forwards coming back to defend and getting in the way of your standard defense. Right. That's a failed proposition. And so there is a fluid nature. And I think the beauty of sport is that what we don't see are the endless hours of practice. What we see is 90 minutes plus hydration breaks of performance.
Yeah.
And a lot of, and I'll absolutely agree with anyone that says it, an enormous amount of drama. As try to draw fouls and,
for sure,
a lot of performative art. The acting classes, acting instructors are not being paid enough, clearly.
The one thing that I did appreciate about this World Cup is that one guy flopped, got a yellow card, or the other guy got a yellow card, and they reversed it. I was like, that's great. Now, the other thing that I haven't thought about until, this year going through it is there is a process of slowing the game down, and that acting is part of the game. Now, it's very non-American. It's very male as well. So if you go to women's games, they don't do that acting. They just don't, which is very 100%. Interesting. So I've got a friend that loves soccer, and we've got a small club here in Boise that just started. And, it's been kind of cool, but she's like, yeah, it's a bunch of men. They just flop a lot. And you're like, she's like, yeah, she's like, women don't do that. I'm like, how anti-gender role is that? But anyway, it was kind of interesting to hear her say that.
Yeah, it is interesting, Chris, when I have share season tickets for the Portland Timbers, the men's National Soccer League here in Portland. And then a buddy and I have seats next to each other for the women's, the Portland Thorns.
Yep.
And what you just described is 100% true. And what's fascinating to me is that when there's an injury on the field, the women treat it as a hydration break.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the men are pretending to flop around indefinitely, everybody else just kind of watches them. I almost expect them to raise cards like at a gymnastic meet or something,
That's funny.
It's a different behavioral piece that which almost, it also gets into just the gender politics of how do women behave in competition, which is, I think, more professionally.
Yeah.
I don't know. We may have a future segment on the emergent passion around women's professional basketball.
There you go.
Fire all over. Yeah, it's an interesting question.
All right, what's the process to getting better for the U.S. in 2030?
Yeah, how do we get better by 2030? The simple question that I wonder is if what we're seeing is the result of, in these national games, are we seeing the result of a persistent team, a cohesive team?
Yeah.
Are we seeing people playing in their professional leagues with also national team members?
Yep.
So Pulisic is fantastic.
Yep.
And he plays at one of the highest levels that an American's played at.
Yep.
Does that make him a good fit as part of an American team?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know that that's the answer.
Yep.
The dream team, America's NBA basketball team, I think it was 92 when we had Jordan and Pippen and, all the who's who, Charles Barkley, I'll take the court on behalf of America. It wasn't quite the slam dunk that everybody expected it to be.
Yeah.
In part because these guys were each individually used to being the showrunner.
Yep.
And having everybody else fold in around them.
Yep.
And so that is difficult. So
I think
what else
you
contribute?
I hope we stay with the same coach because I think he's done a decent job.
Yeah.
I think they pay him probably too much money, but that would probably be my opinion anyway.
That's consistent with any kind of sporting event, though. I think
one of the things that's been different, I think, about this World Cup is that a lot of the a lot of the players play in the European League, but we've got folks like Balogun, who was he basically was here. His mom was here when she was like 7 months pregnant. They said you can't get on the plane, so then he was born here, and so he's on the team. He's also young. He's really good. But I think if you can keep a core group, the other thing is we're gonna have to start playing European play. We're gonna have to probably alter some of the way that we feed Americans into the European system. Because the reality is it's very possible that you've got a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old here, or even better, a 16-year-old or 14-year-old that's over there in their farm system, getting better, playing the best in the world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The quality of a player does seem highly correlated with the degree of competition that they engage in.
Yeah. The thing is we can't compete the way that we want to in a primarily European driven structure. Like we can't fight against that process that they have to feed those systems.
Yeah, I agree. And I wish that, and this is where my ignorance starts to show. I don't know what is unique about that development process that takes place in Europe. Is it simply that the mindset that you described? Is it a culture of winning? Is it a reprioritization? Does it come down to the way that the lives of young athletes are scheduled?
Yeah.
We still, even though we have kids playing a sport year round, we still expect them to be well-rounded and maintain their grades and, participate in a variety of things. I don't know if that's more or less true in Europe. So maybe a listener will weigh in and tell me exactly.
I think some of it is, we can kind of end it here, but I think some of it is that if you look at the natural kind of locations for things, right? Like there are specialists worldwide, right? So if you want to make a computer chip, I would say you're probably going to go to China.
Right.
Or Boise, Idaho. Or Boise. They're working on that just up the street.
That's right.
If you want to build a shirt, you're probably going to go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Right. If you want high finance, you're going to be in New York.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you want to be a developer, you're going to be in the Bay Area. Right. There's like these little localizations. We see it in business all the time. And I don't think soccer is any different. Right. Like if you want to be the best of the best, you're going to be in England. That's going to be the first place that you're going to be. Then you're going to probably fall back to either the Spanish league or the German league. And then you're going to be in the Italian league. Like that's like they have
hierarchy.
They have a hierarchy there. And unless you can get into that feeder system, like I think we will continue to root for America and be disappointed.
I'm still going to root for America.
Do it.
And still be disappointed, even though the betting side of me probably would have wagered on France or Argentina
for sure,
as the two finalists from last World Cup.
That's all right.
But hey, you know what? Cheers to 2030.
There you go.
We'll see how that plays out. As always, Chris, appreciate it, buddy.
Talk to you later, man. Bye.